All right, what is up, everyone? We are back. Hopefully this video will be a quick one. Going to be doing it on leaning, kind of adding leaning. If you're familiar with Rainbow Six Siege, games like that. I'm not very good at that game, but we want to add some leaning to the character. So let's get into it. Let's start off here. So the first thing that we're going to have to do is go into our inputs, right? So we'll go to input and actions. So the first two, well, I guess really the ones that I have to do, it's going to be this IA lean left, IA lean right. We're going to have two, right? Because you're going to set these up for two different keys. Basically just copy any one of these on here. Let me bring this over here. Just set up, it's a bool, right? That's it. So set these up. Once we have those, we're going to go ahead and add that to the input data shooter game add-ons. So just like we've done this a million times on any of our other input actions, anything that you're doing, ignore this ADS swap. I'll show that one on a different video, but it's right here, this IA lean left. We're going to put an input tag weapon lean L. If you're not familiar with how to add tags, you just come up here and then you're going to type in, is it right here? And then just add a new tag. So add input tag weapon lean left, input tag weapon lean right. So once you have those set up, just a quick way to find where stuff is, if you hit Alt-Shift-R, that's going to bring up your reference viewer. We know that it is in these IMCs, right? So let's go ahead and browse to the asset. It's right, if you go back, I'll show you where that is. You've got these input actions, you just hit back, and then you're in the mapping. So one thing that I did just on the keyboard and mouse, I'll show you. I think Q was your grenade, right? And then the melee was E. I put grenade as G and then melee as F. That way what I was able to do is make my lean Q and my lean right E. So I'm either side of that W, that WASD is your forward, back, side to sides. I just kind of made those. I have not really played with the gamepad, to be honest. I just haven't set those up yet. They're in here, I haven't set them up. So we'll get to that at another point. I've got some other things that we're going to be doing. Once we have those, though, the next thing that we'll do, we'll go back to the input folder, is we're going to actually make the ability, right? So we're going to have the lean left and lean right. So I'm not going to get into the blueprints of these yet because we will have to get into the C++ code for this. So I will go ahead and bring up Writer over here. And there's 4 files that we're going to have to modify. So the first file is going to be this LyraHeroComponent.cpp, the LyraHeroComponent.h file, our LyraGameplayAbility and our GameplayAbility.h file. So the reason why we're doing this is, if you remember, the camera kind of moves with it. But what it also allows us to do is not mess up that aim down sights camera. We can, lean, aim, unlean, unaim. It's kind of setting up a separate camera component. I will get into, I'm trying to think, over here I have the GA camera change. I will get into that on another video because there's a whole bunch of ways to do this, but just kind of quick and dirty, we'll go into the H file and it's right here. What I basically did was I added a secondary ability and I'm taking the subclass of the Lyra camera mode. Basically what I just did is I took the ability and copied it, right? And then I'm also grabbing this spec handle, which I don't know what the technical terms are, but basically what this does is it kind of saves the camera, so that way when you undo the ability, it will clear it for you. I'll get into how it actually works in the CPP code and why we have this. But then what we're also doing is we're making another copy of this camera mode. We're naming this the stored camera, so that way we can kind of go back and forth between the secondary camera and the regular ability camera. So once we have these done, there's another spot that I think we have to do. If I can't find it, I'll go into the CPP file and then go back into the H. Yeah, right here, sorry. So it's these right here. So what we're gonna do is, again, I think I just copied the set ability camera and the clear ability camera because we're gonna be modifying similar code to those to give us that secondary ability. So I just put mine as I think this is what, set ability. I have set secondary ability. So just copy those and then you're good to go. So let's go ahead into the HeroComponent.cpp file. I always like to put my stuff at the bottom. Just let me go back to this. I'm going to throw these up on the GitHub so you guys can download those, take a look at those. But I have these in the public because we're going to have to access these elsewhere. Sorry, these right here, I'm putting under the protected. So those are only accessed within this file. We don't need to grab those anywhere else. Getting into the CPP file. The first thing that we're going to do is under the hero component, right? So this is basically, it's determining what the camera mode is. The reason why I put this, we're going to have this above the ability camera because we want this to be the first called. So basically just copy this and change it to the secondary ability camera mode, right? So if this is there, this is going to override that ability camera. And you could put it either way if you wanted your secondary, to kind of be secondary to the ability camera. It's really then just kind of how you code it in the actual blueprints. But once we have this, ignore this. I'm going to get into a different video on this one. But once you have these, so here you have the set ability camera mode and the clear ability camera mode. So I copied those and I've got those under here, right? So you're going to copy the set ability camera mode and you're going to set it as the secondary. So under here, this is where we're storing. We're taking that ability camera mode and then we're going to store it so we can call whatever that camera mode is later once we clear, right? So we're going to go to the clear the secondary camera and then this is where we're basically getting that stored camera mode. So, and then we're clearing our secondary camera mode. So it's a little bit different of a code from the original Lyra. And then what I've done in here is the reason why I've removed this if ability camera mode owning spec handle. But if we don't pull it out of the if statement, it won't be able to, it's not going to match, right? For whatever reason, I was playing with it and it doesn't clear the ability camera mode. So you're stuck aiming down the sights. So we pull it out of the if and then we're just going to clear it either way. So that way, once we go back into here, we are clearing that secondary camera mode. If, again, you wanted to kind of have where, oh, not under here, the secondary camera mode is under your ability camera mode, then you don't have to modify the, clear ability camera mode. Leave the if statement there, and then what you want to do is you want to pull out the if statement here, pull the stuff out of the if. I probably have to see what the logic would be on, storing the camera mode. You might need to store, you might need to add the store into the set ability, but if you set it up this way, I know this works. You kind of saw it in that demo at the beginning, but I know this is going to work. The only other thing that we're going to have to do is in your gameplay ability, right? So I have this, I think it's what, line 5 something. I put it right after the clear camera mode. I just have the same thing. So this is how we're actually going to access it in the blueprints. This is the CPP file. Let me go into the H. And is it under protected? I think I put it in public because we have to access it outside. Yep, I did. So again, you just kind of copy this set camera mode and clear camera mode, set it to set secondary camera mode, and then clear secondary camera mode. So this is where you're declaring them in your H file. Once you go into the code, again, we just kind of copy that. And then I think the logic's a little bit different. Not too much. Again, I'll have these in the GitHub file so you can take a look at these. But those are the 4 files that you have to modify. There's only a couple lines of code, and it's great that you can just copy a whole bunch of stuff from the original Lyra code and then modify it. Makes it pretty easy to do. So once we get back into here, so what you'd probably have to do in either Visual Studio Code or Rider, just go ahead and restart it. That will reload everything, and then we can actually get into the gameplay abilities. So once we get into the gameplay ability, there's going to be something else that we're going to have to do, but I will show you that in a second. Again, ignore this. This is going to be for the next video that I'm doing, or kind of a couple videos hopefully I'll have coming up within like the week. I want to keep them kind of close together. So, but the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to check to see if we are aiming down the sights. We're going to set off of, if it's true, if we are aiming, we're going to set that secondary ability camera mode. If we are not, we're just going to set this as the regular camera mode. So these camera modes we're actually going to have to make. So ADS lean left. So this is going to be under the plugins, shooter core content, camera. So what I've done with this one is, I think I just copied the third person ADS. So copy it, name it lean left, copy it again, name it lean right. And then we're going to take the ADS offset curve. Go ahead, and again, just for this, you kind of drag, copy here, then rename it. I think it's F2 renames to a quick hotkey to rename. And then again, grab this third person ADS. I was looking at it, and for whatever reason, if you go back into the code on, I'm not actually going to go into it, but if we go back into the code under the cameras, because I was looking at, potentially, I think is, what is it? Let me open up one of them just to show you. So it's the Lyra camera mode, third person. If you go into that, right, so that's going to be Lyra camera mode, third person. I think they have a comment about it not working. It's like a fix. They called it a debug. Not a debug. They said that there's actually, it's funny, there was, if I can find it, I might edit this out of the video just so this video is not too long for you guys. It's the CPP file. But they had a note, and it gave you an actual error code. I tried Googling it, I couldn't find it, but should be under the camera mode. Because what I was gonna do is just turn this into, what is it right here? Target offset curve, so that you can edit that in the blueprints. But like I said, they mentioned something about not doing that. So I was like, oh, it's not too much. I think these are, what's the file size on this? 7 kilobytes, maybe, if I'm reading that right. I don't know. But anyways, so just copy both of those, and then we're going to copy the curves. What I've done for the curves, I actually don't like it. I might make the offset a little bit larger. But just to show you, I will open up all of these. So under here, we have the Y is 0, 60, the Z is 0, 0, and the X is 0, negative 75. So what I've done for this one is just in the Y, right? So the only thing that I've changed is the Y. I'll show you. So the Y is 30 on lean left, or sorry, the Y on the regular ADS is 60. I've set it to 30. I actually set it to 0. I kind of like the way that looked. And then on the third person right, I changed it to 90. So I just added 30 and subtracted 30, but maybe do 60. I actually kind of liked it better when it was 60. I was kind of play testing some other stuff and just changed it to, adding 30. But I did like the 60 better. So I might go back and change that after this video. Going back into the gameplay ability, and the two gameplay abilities are pretty much the exact same. The only difference is I'm calling different cameras. Lean right. So lean left is we're checking to see if we're aiming down the sights. If we are, we're adding a secondary camera and we're doing the lean left. If not, oh, sorry. Yes, so the other one that we have to do, and I have different browsers up. I've noticed one quick trick, I guess, is depending on the last browser, right? So this is looking at the weapons. Here is where my ADS cameras are. So if I click on another browser, I go back, and then I hit this arrow, this is gonna browse to, it opened up the last browser that you're in. So here I actually have the two browsers side by side. So I can jump back and forth between the ADS, and here are the third persons, right? So these are actually in a different spot. These are in the main content folder. This is in your plugin content folder. So the ADS is in the plugins, the regular third person is in the regular content folder. So again, what I've done is I've just taken this third person, copy it, and I'm making third person lean left, third person lean right. I then took the third person offset curve, copied that, made lean left, lean right. I know there's a bunch jumping back and forth between the 4 different cameras that we're setting, but that way what we do is going back into, so if we are aiming down the sights, we're adding that ADS, and if we're not aiming down the sights, we are going into that regular third person. So once we set these cameras, we're going to wait for the input release. If we are doing the secondary camera mode, this is where we're calling that function the clear secondary camera mode. If not, if we're setting just a normal ability camera mode, we just end it. Otherwise, we're going to clear the secondary and then we're going to end it. So that is pretty simple. Again, on the right, we're setting the lean right for the ADS or the lean right, the regular one. And then again, if it's a secondary camera mode, we clear it and then end it. Just to make sure that we can call these abilities, this is where we're going to have to do that. So what I've done is these tags. I have cancel abilities if I'm sprinting. I think I have that if it's on the ADS. I just copied that. But this activation owned tag, right? So this is event, movement, lean right. We have this if I think when I'm working on the other cameras, I might be checking if we've got this tag and when I jump back and forth between the cameras. But so make sure that the activation owned tag is this event, movement, lean right. And then the trigger, right? So we've got gameplay event, input tag, weapon, lean right. On the lean left, it's same thing, only lean left and lean left. So this is going to be how you're going to call it. Let me go back to this ability, Alt-Shift-R, and we're going to have to add it to, did we already add? We did not, make sure. Let's browse, I'll go back to here. So let's go back to this one, right? So we'll go ahead and browse to asset. We'll open this up and then you just add it at the bottom. Again, I've kind of got some other abilities, but the shoulder swap, I'll get to that again later. But so we've got this lean left and lean right. So this is where we're then binding this input tag, weapon, lean left, input tag, weapon, lean right. So once we have all of this stuff, how we actually then make the character lean is we're going to go into the, I'm trying to think, where is it? The ABP mannequin base, right? So we'll open that up and you don't really have to do much in here. All you have to do is under this gameplay tag bindings. So these are different bindings that I don't know if they run off the game. I think they run off the game thread safe. I forget what it's called, but these bindings. So just go ahead and for here, it's not too difficult. Maybe just take the ADS and duplicate, rename it what you want. Go under the class defaults. You're going to scroll all the way down to gameplay tags, gameplay tag property map, and then you're going to add these here. So if you do rename these after you name them in here, for whatever reason, if you rename your abilities, notice I've got this ADS left. It's not an actual ADS, but if I rename it, it kind of breaks everything. So just note that once you bind them, if you rename the variable, it breaks stuff, so you'll just have to go through and reconnect these. But so basically what we're going to do is we're going to take this gameplay tag variable and we're binding it to this event movement lean left, and then the gameplay tag lean right, we're binding it to this one. So this basically then updates our blueprint. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into the linked layers and we're going to take this ABP item anim layers base. We'll go in here and it is this full body skeleton controls. I think that's going to be under your anim layers, and then it is full body skeleton controls. What we're going to do is right after this transform modify bone, in fact, just go ahead and copy this. I placed it 3 times. And the reason for that is I'm bending the spine 2, spine 3, and spine 4. I thought that gives the character kind of the most natural lean. I guess technically what you could do is, and I'll go into how it bends it, but you could only do 1, right? And then make this number higher and only bend 1 bone. But I thought kind of bending these 3 bones made it look a little more natural. But once we do this, it's not going to, your character will get all out of whack. It'll be permanently leaning one way or the other, something like that. So once you add these 3, right? If you only want it on 1 bone or if you want it on the different 3, make sure you select the bone to modify right here. This is going to be the bone that you're going to modify. Once you select that, the next thing that you want to do is you're going to do the translation. You're going to ignore that. I think you do have to split this, right? Actually, here. What you want to do is you're going to transform, modify, bone. I changed this alpha, right? So you're going to change the alpha, where is the alpha? To a bool, and then it's going to be enabled. And then this rotation, you'll go ahead and split that. So once we have that, that's what's going to give you these. I think if you ignore, they should go away, so that's why I only have these showing. But again, what you'll do is the rotation, you want to have that as a pin, you'll split that, and you want to make sure it is add to existing. If you hit ignore, it's not going to do anything. If you replace it, your character will be constantly be leaning. But so what you're going to do is you're going to do add to existing, and then again, scale, you can ignore that. I don't think I messed with the curve, anything like that. I thought I did a pretty decent job in the function. So the next thing that we'll do is we're going to add a function. So you just go here, add a function. I named it update lean. Open that. Over here, we want to add the delta time. So you're just going to do input, add, make it a float. I named it delta time. And then off there, we're going to pull a branch. This is where we're going to grab that off of the ABP mannequin base. We're going to grab that lean left, right? So this is, it's the game, or no, sorry, not game, it's property access. Property access. And then from there, it's a game safe thread. You will need to, on this one, right? So click on it. You will want to make this thread safe because we're actually going to be updating this on the thread safe. Yeah, I'll get to that in a second after we run through here. So let me give us a little more room here. But first we're going to check if we're leaning left. I guess you could check if you're leaning right first, but check if you're leaning left. So it's going to be under thread safe, and then hopefully it's under thread safe. Yeah, lean left. Don't know why my lean right isn't there. Lean right, but yeah, under thread safe, and then you should have lean left. Oh, there's lean right. Yeah, so you'll have both of those. I'll get rid of that. Off there, what we'll do is we're going to set this variable. So you can just come down here, add a variable, or if you do a flip interp, it's f interp, whatever, you know what it is. Anyways, just go ahead and drag off here and promote that to a variable, and then you can name it. Go ahead, you can just add that there, and that drops it. So what you're going to do is you're going to get it, set it to the current. You're going to set the target. I have it as -12, and the reason for that is this then adds -12 to each bone. So if you only want to do one bone, you could do maybe 30, 40, but I'm adding 12 to each bone. And then what we're doing is if we're leaning left, the target that we're going to interpolate towards, I think is what it is -12. I set the interp speed as 8. You can play with it if you want your character to lean faster. You could even, I guess, promote this to a variable and then, tag it to, say, an ability where your character, as they level up, this speeds up, right? So you can set it maybe as 4. They don't lean as fast. I don't know, whatever I guess your game is, but and then so as this is set, the target is going to be this -12, and then it's going to interpolate towards that based on the delta time, and sets that. If it's not, we're going to check to see if it is the lean right. Do the exact same thing, only this time it's going to go to +12, and then we're going to set that. And if it's false, you still want to interpolate, right? I've set this, and you just set it to 0. Your character snaps, and it's kind of ugly animations. You can maybe even set this higher, leaning back upright or whatever, but you do want to interpolate back towards 0, or else your character is a little bit funny. So once that's all done, we go back into, this is the thread safe function right here, and that's going to be under your functions, this blueprint thread safe update anim. And then we just add that to the end of it, and then we're just going to grab this same delta time. I pulled off this one, added a pin there, and then plug it in there. So that's it. Really, that's all you have to do to get that lean left and right. So pretty short. I don't think the video is that short. Sorry if it was not that short. But stay tuned, because I know I mentioned kind of these, maybe I think on here, did I have to do anything before I kind of show the last one? No, so this is the, so this is the left ADS I mentioned. I'll get to that in the next video. Yeah, I don't think I had anything in here. Let me just double check. No, I didn't change anything for the lean in here. So yeah, you're good to go. And then I'll show a little video of me running around and leaning and doing all that stuff. And there you go. So again, that time, like, share, subscribe, put this in your game, give me credit or don't. It's cool. That's why I put these videos for you guys. So anyways, like I said, yeah, like, share, comment. If you have any questions, I try to answer all of them. Not gonna lie, some of the questions that you guys ask are complicated. So you guys are great, but I will see you guys next time.